up, Protege Squad? It's your boy, Prodigy, in the building here. We're starting something new on the channel, and I'm super excited to introduce you guys. I'm going to do some interviews with the top collectors in the world for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm starting with somebody that really needs no introduction. This is Omar here. How's it going, Omar?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Omar goes by Strictly Graded, aka Strictly Sealed, Museum-esque. He's changed his name a few times. Tell me a little bit about that, man.
All right. So in the beginning, initially, I actually started with grading cards. That was like my main thing, where I would just like buy raw cards on eBay and just grade them. This was back when like people didn't really do that kind of thing because. And there was like a lot on eBay. Like there was a lot of saturated market on eBay, so cards were really cheap. And I basically just like decided. Oh, and I had actually a lot of people message me like, "Hey, do you have this card? Do you have this card? Do you have this card?" And I would be like, "Yeah, I have it like PSA 9, PSA 10," and then they'd be like, "Oh no, I'm looking for it for my deck or something." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then that's why I came up with the name like Strictly Graded, because I was like I didn't want people to ask me like, "Hey, do you want? Are you selling this raw card, etc., etc."
Right.
And then I shifted a little bit because I started seeing that my collection was kind of developing to more sealed product, and I wanted something like a little bit more classy, or I'm not sure how to explain, like a little bit more. I don't know how to explain it, but I wanted something a little bit more fancy. So I went with museum-esque, and people berated me for that.
I
People
remember.
like they're like, "Yo, I know you as Strictly, man," like etc. People were like really hammering me for that, and if I was like, "All right, no problem." I changed it back to Strictly, but I didn't want to go Strictly Graded, so I was just went Strictly Sealed, and that's basically what I collect. I'm mostly a sealed collector. I have a few like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards are a little bit high end, but for the most part, I collect mostly sealed product or like advertisement, posters, etc., stuff like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I like the Strictly Sealed. If anything, the logo, the SS looks really cool on Instagram. So definitely stick with that, man. I think that suits you well.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna do it. Yeah, like I made up my mind on that one.
First off, I want to ask you what really got you interested in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Okay, well, for me, I grew up. I didn't really play with Pokemon like the people in my age. So I was born in 1994, and at the time, I was too young for Pokemon. Like I didn't hit that school age because basically I was an immigrant. I came here when I was like 7 years old, 8 years old. So I missed that 2000 and 2002 time period where Pokemon was really blowing up.
Right.
And I came in straight into Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So school, the playground was full of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I never had the money to be able to purchase anything. Also, my parents, they thought it was like gambling and stuff like that. They thought it was like playing cards. So
Uh-huh.
I never owned a single like deck or anything like that. I all my friends had the SDK. I remember that specifically. And I never had anything. I think the first pack I bought was like something I saved up from my own money. It was a Pharaonic Guardian pack, and I bought and I pulled a Necro Valley from there. But after that, I kind of always wanted like a hobby shop, if that makes sense. I wanted like a shop kind of thing because I never had the chance to go and like check it out or anything like that. But I knew about it. I watched the show, etc. And that's where I basically got my experience from. Like
Right.
all my friends on the playground had cards, and I would just like be on the sideline like watching them like collect and trade and etc. Yeah.
Man, coming from not having any cards to now having this massive collection, that must be amazing feeling. Like,
I mean, yeah, I got lucky. I made some like pretty good deals, and I worked really hard, to be honest. Like I'll be honest with that, and I really like this stuff. That's something that's undervalued in this hobby. That I love the stuff itself, so for me it's easy to keep. So I always like scoop like a couple of things every month, and I just set them back in my collection, and that's how it grew. And people will be very surprised once they try that method out. You know what I mean? Like every 2 months, just pick something up, pick a pack up, pick whatever your budget fits,
Right.
right? And you'll see like within a month you have 24 booster boxes, right? And that's pretty. In time, it accumulates, right?
Oh yeah. You have some awesome live videos, man. I feel like it's mail day every day over at Strictly's house. So, um, another question for you. Did you watch the show growing up, like the
Yeah,
cartoon show?
that was my main thing. Like I watched all the way from the beginning to the dragons, the one with darts and the three dragons, Timaeus, Hamos, and Critias.
Okay.
I watched that religiously. That was my main thing. Yeah.
Was the first 3 seasons, was that very iconic for you, or
Oh
like?
yeah, Battle City was it. Like that was it. Like I remember I would go home from school, like because the show started at 2:30 here in Canada, and my
Uh-huh.
school ended around 2, and I would be rushing home, and it took me around 45 minutes, right? I'd be rushing home to get home to watch Battle City because that was it. Like that was my childhood.
Wow,
Battle City was the best.
that's awesome, man. It's really epic. I feel the same way growing up myself. Watching the show, it was so exciting, man. Just coming home
Of
after school
course.
and it's on. Wanting those cards, it was crazy. Speaking of cards, what would you say is your favorite card of all time?
My favorite card of all time would probably be, I would say, like I have three. Like I have three main ones: SDK, SDY, and Dark Magician Girl from MFC. Those are probably like my three top ones. And in terms of just like overall package, you know what I mean? They have everything. They have nostalgia, value, collectability, you know what I mean? The first edition, no reprints, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Those three for me are the epitome. But in terms of nostalgic for me, the most nostalgic card for me is actually the DMG Dark Paladin, because my father, he worked in air ducts, and he worked for like some rich guy, and the rich guy basically took me to Toys R Us, and that was like the first time I ever got like a sealed product. I got the Duel Masters guide, and inside that was Dark Paladin, and nobody knew where to get that, right? Nobody knew where to get that box from, because like, you know, I mean, at the time we were kids, right? Like they saw this card and they're like, yo, where does this come from? It's not on the packaging or anything. I didn't even remember at the time that it was like some special product. And I remember I traded it for like a Destiny board, a complete Destiny board, first edition.
Uh-huh.
But to me, the most nostalgic card for me is the Dark Duel Masters Guide Dark Paladin. Like I have that in PSA 10 paired up with my Duel Masters Guide like sealed box.
Wow. Wow,
That's my
that's,
most nostalgic card.
oh my gosh. Following up with that, what would you say is your favorite set out of all Yu-Gi-Oh? Like booster box wise, what would you say is your favorite?
Meta Raiders, most likely. Meta Raiders or Magician's Force.
Oh, that's tough. Both of those are iconic sets, both very valuable.
Yeah.
But you'd say Metal Raiders. Is it mostly because of the show, or do you feel like it's just how does it make you
Uh,
feel?
Mostly because of Summon Skull. I really liked Summon Skull back in the day. Like that was the card I always wanted. And I like, for me, I also like the fact that like Meta Raiders, almost like every card is a hit. You know what I mean? Like you pull a super rare, it's a night. Like for the most part, I mean, unless you're pulling Garnecia, Elefantis, or like Seven Tools of the Bandit. Even Seven Tools was pretty memorable. I remember back in the day, people would duel with it. But
Right.
like, unless you're pulling Garnecia, Elefantis, pretty much every other card is a hit. You know what I mean?
And
And
Metal Raiders is hot right now, man. It's a hot set.
for sure.
You see that on eBay all the time, just going up in price. Um, and then one thing you were saying with Summon Skull, the one thing I like about it, if you watch the intro to Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yes.
Summon Skull, I mean that was so iconic watching that, just the lightning
Yes,
part of it. Oh man, every time they play that intro to the show, I just get so pumped. It was
for
so.
sure. And super simplistic. You know what I mean? I just love the artwork on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And
Uh,
I just think Summon Skull kind of like epitomizes the art style, the gothic art style of Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That Summon Skull artwork is just ridiculous in my opinion.
Especially when Yugi summons Summon Skull, it's pretty.
Oh yeah.
It's exciting. Another question for you: what would you say is the rarest thing in your entire collection? I know that's a tough question because you have a lot of rare stuff. But the
rarest as in like you don't really see it, or rarest as in just like the highest value, like people value it the most?
Go ahead and do it as both.
Sure. So probably the rarest thing I own is I just got it in on my mail day today. It's this right here. I'm really proud of this one. So this is a special release packet that was released, I believe, in 2007.
Yeah. Those don't come up hardly. I've never seen one ever come up.
I mean, this is the first time like you're ever seeing this, not like a small like 100 pixel by 100 pixel like stock image.
Right.
So this thing is it was released in 2007. It has a secret rare Armed Dragon level 7. Most people don't even know like a secret rare exists of this card. But yeah, this I mean, it's nothing really special. It's just a couple of decks, but just the sealed product itself. Like, I mean, I've been searching for this for around 4.5 years, and this is the first one I've ever seen like come up for sale.
Wow.
So, and it came up for pretty cheap. I mean, for what it is, like, I mean, you can't really ask for a lot of money because nobody knows about it.
Right.
But what it is, like, this is extremely, extremely hard to find, and probably like, I wouldn't. I know if I let this go, I would never find one again. So this is why I'm really proud of this thing. It might not seem like a lot. It's like $200, but in my opinion, I think it's a really cool item and a piece of Yu-Gi-Oh history.
Yeah, like I've never seen one for sale, so you've definitely got a mint in there. So, on terms of value, though, what would you say is your most valuable possession for Yu-Gi-Oh?
For Yu-Gi-Oh, I would say like my LOB boxes, LOB Blue Eyes. I mean, this one is more like OCG. I'm not sure if like you dabble in that, but OCG, this is like probably my pride and joy right here. This is a PSA 10 starter box Blue Eyes. So this is the first Blue Eyes ever released, and in like the OCG, and I mean, it's like $150 card raw, but it's notorious for like off centering and damage on the borders because it came loose in the deck box when they first released them.
The pop's really low on that too, isn't it?
It's a pop one, yeah.
Pop one. Yeah, I was thinking 1 or 2. That's awesome.
Yeah, so this is in terms of just rarity and like collectability, this is I'm really proud of this one. You know what I mean? I really I take it out every day. I just look at it. So
you like Yugi versus Baka and take it with you when you go camping, you know?
Yeah.
You saw that. Man, that's awesome. So, you know, most people I would say know you very well for having a ton of booster boxes. How many booster boxes do you have? Have you counted them?
So
approximately.
I'll show you some. I'm not sure if you're okay with this, but I'll show you like a little bit of my collection. So yeah. I'm still sorting stuff out, but I have like LOB first editions right here. Pharaoh's Servant, Magician's Force. Like this is what I have like I'm still working on right now. I just got this in. I have 2 first edition Lighted Destructions, EEN, Shadow of Infinities. I mean, in terms of number, I have maybe around 100 booster boxes, around 100. Like if I was to count everything, yeah, that's around 100. It's not like
high position though. Like if you would say like on like collection wise, sealed booster boxes for what's out on the market, you probably hold a good chunk of the market. I would say 100 that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty invested in it. Like I have a lot of faith in Yu-Gi-Oh itself, and I mean I put my money where my mouth is, I guess, and I I I, I don't know. I have strong confidence in the game and
Right.
the collectability of it, and I'm not afraid of kind of going all in that aspect.
No, that's awesome, man. If anything, that shows just how strong the game is, and I mean, it's the prices are, you see it daily. It's skyrocketing. They're jumping new levels. I think a lot of it has to do with obviously how the virus is right now. Everyone's at home bored, and they want to, they're surfing on the internet. They don't have nothing to do, so they're they're buying more than what they normally would. So it makes more sense that way as well. But we're seeing, numbers that we've never seen before. It's really exciting, actually. You know.
Yeah.
Um, do you ever plan on? I mean, with that good size of collection, do you ever see yourself ever selling your collection?
Well, I sell stuff here and there. I mean, most of my collection has been funded through like buying and selling. I always encourage people to buy and sell in this hobby because uh, I mean I can't just keep buying and hoarding, right? Like to me, I don't think number one that's healthy for the market because I mean if there's no exposure for the product to other people, it's really hard to gain appreciation, like true authentic appreciation for the product, right? If one
Right.
person owns everything, it's not, I don't know, I just don't think it's a healthy way of playing the game, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I mean I buy and sell like quite often. Usually what I do though is I buy and sell cards, and any profit I make from that I put it into a booster box. So that's kind of my way of sort of preserving my wealth, if that makes sense. Like the way I do that is when whatever profit I make through the trading,
Right.
I just buy a booster box and I just sit on that. In terms of if I would sell it, I mean, I rarely ever sell my boxes because number one, I like them a lot. So unless I get like a really good offer, it's not really worth selling out. I would rather sell, like I have a lot of other things that I would sell before I would sell my booster boxes. You know what I mean? I would sell tins, I would sell the cards. If I
Right.
needed the money before, I would sell the box.
Well, it makes
So
sense because I mean, once they're gone, they're gone. I mean, they don't make them anymore.
exactly.
So I mean, every time, you know, don't get me wrong. Like I love opening stuff, especially for my
Mhm.
channel. It's so much fun, the nostalgia. But
Yeah.
realizing to myself over the last couple of years, every time I open something, that's one less box on the market, which means that's a higher price is going to be asked for because it's more rare now. And
Yes.
it's tough to, you know, to for that to for me to understand that, I guess, or just deal with that. Best
I
way to
mean, yeah,
explain
I
it.
mean for sure. The thing is though, like for me, I know it seems like I have a lot of boxes, but like I mean, if I could show you like the stuff that I've opened, I mean, like, you see all of this here, like these are all booster boxes that I've opened. So it's not like I I I still for me I don't try to let the hobby become just a money thing for me. Like I have true enjoyment in the boxes themselves. So I obviously I don't open all my product because that's dumb, but uh, opening like boxes here and there, like when you get when you get that itch, right? Like
Oh
damn,
yeah,
I want to pull something. You know what I mean? I need that. I need that.
I
Give,
get it too often lately. It's
I open, like I'm guilty of that as well, man. Like the problem is that at least you do it on camera and you share it with the people. The problem that I have is that I open it in private and you know what I mean. Although like I enjoy it myself, I wish I shared it online. Like I wish I opened all those boxes on YouTube and like I really respect the dedication that you YouTubers have on because I mean, I tried editing, and it's really tough, man. Editing is
Tell me about it.
hectic for sure.
I still haven't mastered it yet. It's a lot of time. It's time consuming for sure.
It is. So, I mean, once I get my work ethic to the level of you guys, I plan on opening some boxes live on YouTube, like doing some openings with people, because I just feel like that kind of boosts the hobby. There's no really, I mean, sure, I lose a little bit of money,
Right.
but I just think it boosts the hobby because people rush back towards what the game was, right, initially, and they get to enjoy what it was before.
Oh, it's exciting, man. It is so exciting. When you see, like, every time somebody announces there's a new box that they're going to open or this or that, and I'm so pumped about it.
Yes.
It's good. I think it's not only good for the hobby, it's good for the community. And yeah, it's exciting. That's the best way to explain it. Another follow up on the next question. What would you say is the most underrated set on the market at the moment, and why?
Underrated.
Like undervalued, just could be like a sleeper. People aren't seeing the value in it, but maybe here in the future it'll jump in price.
Okay, in terms of underrated, in terms of collecting the box, I think Light of Destruction is really underrated. I mean, I tried really hard to get a position on that box, but I just can't find them.
You can't find those.
I cannot find that box at all, and it's quite ridiculous just how. I mean, even in Unlimited, it's an impossible box to find. So I think Light of Destruction, although it's like up there already, like I mean, it's like a $2,500 box already.
Right.
I just, for the scarcity that it is, and the fact that you can pull a Ghost Share Honest in there, which is like a crazy card. I just think that is, I think it's one of the most underrated sets in my opinion in terms of just overall scarcity. In terms of value, I would think Meta Raiders is still at the king of underrated, because I mean, you can still make money opening that box. You know what I mean? You pull a Summon Skull, Beast Skull, and 1,000 Dragon, you already paid for the box, right? And then any supers, and Meta Raiders is so gradable. You know what I mean? Like you're
great set.
When you open that box, 99% of the time the cards are PSA 10s. Right? So all you need is to open that box, and then you're most likely gonna plus $500. So the fact that it's sitting at $3,000 right now, to me, it tells me that it's a little bit undervalued. So that's my opinion on like most underrated in value and underrated in scarcity. Light of Destruction is impossible to find, and Meta Raiders has way too much value for what it is. I mean, Baby Dragon's a $150 card, believe it or not. I've graded and sold multiple Baby Dragons, and they continuously don't last more than a couple of days on eBay before they're bought up.
Same with Time Wizard. I feel like, was that like four?
Time Wizard is a crazy card as well.
It's very iconic. I mean, for the show, Joey had the Time Wizard. Like, I really wanted that card when I watched the show.
For sure.
And
for sure,
just being able to not only pull that card, but the set itself. I totally agree with you. I think very undervalued set. Another big Instagrammer goes by 90s Collector. I don't know if you follow him at all. He's been buying up a lot of the 1,000 Dragon PSA 10s, I've noticed. He sees it as the most underrated set on the market of all time, is what he said. So, somebody who's really big into buying, you can't take that as a grain of salt. People gotta, take this knowledge, man. Metal Raiders, it's, there's no price hype in it. It's just very nostalgic. I see it. It's got a lot of growth.
Even the commons and the rares. I mean, I would say LOB, but the LOB's already taken off. But like MRD, even the rares are really solid. I mean, for me, I would pay $50, $75 for a Sangan PSA 10. You know what I mean? Which of the Black Forest PSA 10? That's a really nostalgic card for me. You know what I mean? Those cards are very, very nostalgic to a lot of people. So that set is really stacked. The commons like Pumpkin King of Ghosts, Bickery Box. You know what I mean? Like those cards are really, really beautiful, man. I don't know. I just really love Metal Raiders. I just think it's an amazing set.
Now, if only we can get Legacy of Darkness to have centered cards, you know?
Legacy card and Legacy of Darkness is the bane of my existence, man. You don't want to know how many boxes I've opened.
Never open that box. Never open that box. So going on the flip side of that, from the underrated, what about the most overrated set on the market, would you say? That's just like, why are people buying this? Like,
to me, I would say Pharaonic Guardian is probably the most overrated set. I just don't understand it. I don't see a single card in that set that is like maybe Ring of Destruction,
Lava Golem, just those two secret rares. That's all there is. There's no value in that set.
Exactly. I mean, it's the only box I have zero of. All right, I don't have a single box of Pharaonic Guardian. Yeah, I don't have a single box. So I just have no interest. Like even the cover card is not. I don't know. I just don't like Pharaonic Guardian. It's a poster I don't have up. Yeah. Oh, I also think Labyrinth of Nightmare is underrated as well, in my opinion. Labyrinth of Nightmare is a $1,000 box.
Right.
You pull Gemini Elf and Necrofear. You already paid for the box. Everything else is a plus. So obviously it's quite difficult to pull them. But the idea is that it's not about how hard it is to pull. It's more about what are the possibilities of pulling. That's how you really measure a box, right? It's like Neo Genesis, for example, in Pokemon, right? The chances of you pulling and grading a PSA 10 Typhlosion is like non-existent, right? But the value is still up there because you still have that chance. It's the same reason people buy, for example, that Walmart box, right? I mean, the chances of you getting PSA 10 Cyberstein in there is like zero, right? It's practically zero. But people still buy that Walmart box because there's a chance you can pull something. You can get that box. And to me, people love that itch of having that chance to pull. And that's how I measure the value of the box. And for me, Labyrinth of Nightmare is quite underrated at $1,000. Like, I mean, two cards pay for the box. That's.
I opened. I don't know if you saw that opening that I did on Labyrinth.
I saw. You pulled that Necrofear, dude. That's a beauty.
Sick, but I was really sad. No Gemini Elf, man. That was tough. That was tough to bear. But yeah, it's definitely a great set. Very undervalued. You know, you don't even see them for $1,000 anymore. You see crazy prices. I saw one listed the other day for $5,000. I won't really mention what that is. I'm sure. Next question for you. Dark Paladin corrected artwork.
Mm-hmm.
What is that investable? Is it worth the investment?
I mean, I think it is. I think, to be honest with you, and I've discussed this quite a bit on my IG. I think people think like Pop 100 is a lot. Pop 100 is not a lot. As the market grows and the Yu-Gi-Oh people start growing, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they start hitting that top, because like there's no denying, most of the people that played Yu-Gi-Oh, they're not at the age where they can really bring in a lot of income, right? Like there's some people where they were like teens at that time, where now they're adults, like OSE or Gezi TCG. Those people, they're already like in their 30s, right? So those people have already hit that time where, okay, now I could drop serious dough on this game. Most people, they're not at that age yet, right? Like most people, they are still like quite young, and to me, I think anything under Pop 100 is a good investment, to be honest with you. Like any like prominent card, and that includes corrected art. So yeah, there was a big flood of them in I believe in 2019 or 18.
Yeah, one guy that like graded a bunch of them.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I get the scare. I get why people are scared, but I mean, anything under 4,000, in my opinion, is still a pickup, because it's still a Dark Paladin, man. Like people don't understand like how prominent that card was during. It's Buster Blader and Dark Magician. Like, how sick is that?
Well, you can't pull the card. I mean, you had to send it back to Konami to get them to send you the corrected one. So it's not like I can go and buy a box and get it. So
that's correct. Yes. So the market is not going to replenish.
Exactly, and that to me is why I think it's so sought after, is because there's no way you can get it anymore. You can't just buy a box and get it. So I see the value in it. I think it'll stand pretty strong at 4,000 and 5,000. Maybe even.
I mean, if I found one for like 3,000, I'd probably pick it up, to be honest. Like I just think it's a waiting game with that card. It's like one of the few cards where it's just a waiting game. Wait until the market dries up. So if it's not this year, it's 2 years from now. You're gonna get that price that you want, whatever that price is. All you have to do is just wait until the market dries up. There's not gonna be more coming on the market. That's really key, and that's why I collect sealed booster boxes. In my opinion, like PSA 10s, the pop can always go up. Sealed booster boxes, the pop always goes down. Like always, it can never go up, and that's why I have a lot of faith in booster boxes. And corrected dark paladin is the same way. Like, sure, some PSA 10s can pop up, but for the most part, I just think that card itself is a very strong investment.
Oh, I totally agree. I think it's definitely a good option. As we see prices have skyrocketed, do you feel like that we're at a peak, or do you think prices will continue just to keep rising?
I think the market is definitely. I think like, I'm not gonna be one of those like real estate people that are just constantly like, yo, always buy real estate. No, I do think that the market is at that point of tipping. Like I mean, there's no denying that. I mean, we've had like ridiculous growth. Like the growth was unbelievable. Like there has not been a single card, a prominent card, that has sold for the same price twice in a row. It's always consistently gone a little bit higher the past maybe 2 years almost. So I definitely think that there's going to be a tipping point. I do think it's coming soon. I think it's around September to December time.
The key election year, so yeah.
Sorry?
I said it happens to be an election year, so that could have something to do with it as well.
I think that there will like we are gonna like steep off. The problem that I see where it's not going to follow the same Pokemon aspect is I always relate to Pokemon, by the way, because I see it said Pokemon is like Yu-Gi-Oh, but 3 years earlier. That's how I see it, at least.
That makes sense.
Pokemon, it blew up like in 2016, and then it took a huge dive. Like people, I don't know if you were around in that time, but in 2016, I specifically remember Neo dogs, okay, like the Raikou, Entei, and Suicune were around 3,000 to 4,000 each around 2016. And then by 2018, by 2019, I bought my dogs for $650 a piece. So imagine that. Imagine the crash that happened like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if Yu-Gi-Oh will sustain the same amount of damage. The reason is because Yu-Gi-Oh is a lot harder to pull the cards. It's not like Pokemon where you just pull the card every time that you open the box for the most part. Yu-Gi-Oh, you're opening 5-10 boxes to pull the card, right? So I don't see the market replenishing as quick as Pokemon, and this is why Yu-Gi-Oh has constantly gone up, because the entry to the market is a lot faster than the replenishing. Like the cards are not being replenished because they're so damn hard to pull.
Right.
So
what is it? The ratios? I mean, you're at what, 6 or 7 per box on Yu-Gi-Oh, and then with Pokemon with a 36 box, you're at 12. So
yeah. I mean, and Yu-Gi-Oh has tier rarity, right?
Right.
So with that, you have an extended amount of rare. Like there's no tier rarity in Pokemon, right? Like Charizard, you're gonna pull it 80% of the time in the box. Doesn't matter if you open 100 boxes or 2 boxes, right?
Well, I feel like too that's why you see a lot of an example like PokeRev. He opens up his boxes and people are willing to buy the packs pretty consistently because of the pulls. I don't see a huge demand for Yu-Gi-Oh when someone wants to open a box for them to purchase the packs. If that makes sense.
That's more. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. That's more to do, to be honest with you. That's more to do with the age demographic. I just think Yu-Gi-Oh is a lot younger, and I'll tell you why I think this. It's just an opinion. I remember in 2016, fossil packs were around, like no joke, like around $10 to $15 a pack.
Right.
So imagine that, like $10 to $15 a fossil pack. 2016. Right now they're like a minimum $100 a pack. So, like the way I see it, at least, is just right now the supply of Pokemon, of Yu-Gi-Oh right now, of sealed product is really high for certain things, like for certain, like for 100% unlimited. Like, I mean, there's no denying that unlimited boxes are like dime a dozen. You know what I mean? You can find way too many on the market right now.
Right.
I think it just takes a little bit of time until people start, once people come of age, I think that's when you're going to start really seeing like the huge flood that Pokemon has. I don't think it's going to be as big as Pokemon. Let's not get it twisted, but I think Yu-Gi-Oh is just too young right now, honestly.
I agree totally. If anything, you're going to see a big exchange of wealth here in the next 15 years. People don't realize it's, the baby boomers and the generations before us, they're passing away, and what's happened to them, they're leaving inheritances to their younger generation. And what are these people going to do when they have this extra money? Well, they're going to put it into the market. You could see a huge jump. I could see, because of just that exchange of wealth, they have this extra money that they've never had before. So we could see some crazy numbers in the future, man. This might just be the beginning, honestly. It's kind of exciting.
I mean, to me, I think collectibles are a really good store of wealth. Like, people really sleep on the fact that cash, the value is always going down. You know what I mean? Every single day they're printing money like no tomorrow, right? Sure, cash is the most liquid thing right now, but if you don't need cash right now, you know what I mean? I mean, investing is really the way to go, and that's a mindset that people don't really have today, and this is why they, like, I mean, I'll be honest with you, my collection is not like, people like, oh, your collection's amazing. It's not really that amazing. It's just, all it takes is a little bit of dedication to just, you know what I mean? I put away like $500 to this thing, and I try to lower my expenses as much as possible. I mean, I don't live in like a big place. I don't have a nice car. I don't have any of these things. Because why? I try to lower my expenses as much as possible so that I am not dependent on, like, that living check to check. All you have to do is just try your best to lower that, cut things that you don't need out, and then invest it. And this doesn't have to be in Yu-Gi-Oh. Invest it in index funds, whatever your forte is. My forte is Yu-Gi-Oh, which is why I chose to put my money in there. But I mean, if people are good at the stock market, you do that. But people don't really have that kind of investing mindset for some reason. Like, maybe it's because, like, in the school system, they don't teach you budgeting. They don't teach you anything like that. All they teach you is, you know what I mean, like how to work. And I think that's a really important asset. Like, people should be constantly trying to cut down their expenses and raising capital as much as possible so that they feel free. You know what I mean? They don't feel strapped in. My collection is not that big, honestly. I tell this to any person. It's not that big. All it takes is just a little bit of dedication, a little bit of investing, and a little bit of sacrifice, and that's all it takes. And anybody can get it.
Oh man, it's the dedication is definitely there. I mean, 100 boxes. That's there's not too many people in the world I could say that he has that many. You're talking less than probably 10. I would probably say, with that kind of collection. But still, it makes sense though if you put that dedication and, like you said, just putting a little bit of the side. Anybody can start. Which brings up a good question actually. What would you say to somebody who's just starting into Yu-Gi-Oh? What would be their first investment?
your first investment, let's say you have a budget of $100. To be honest with you, I would go pick up a 5Ds box. Like if you can, I would scour the eBay field to try and find a box of 5Ds under $100. You know what I mean? If your budget is like around 100, 150, I mean, to me, that's a really solid investment, guys. If you think about it, you could pull a really expensive card in there. Sure, it's one per case. I'm not saying that you're trying to pull that. It's about the potentiality of that box. And I mean, if you think about it, like Magic boxes, you pulling that card is like impossible, man. Like some of the cards that you're trying to pull in Magic are really hard. There's no way you could make money opening boxes in Magic, right? Even if you pull the best thing possible, like that's how ridiculous it is. Even if you pull, like, maximize the box, you're still not making money in Magic. That tells you that the market is really, 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 like, what's the word that they use? Like, it's like when maximize, like, yeah. What was the word you used?
Monetize,
maximize, like that's just what it is. Like the box has reached way more than its peak, right? I mean, 5D's boxes, they're extremely cheap. And you know how I know that they're extremely cheap? Because there's 5D's boxes that are hitting $700 to $800. Like Duelist Revolution, that's a $1,000 box almost. It's like impossible to find. Like you if you want, go look on eBay, see when the last first edition Duelist Revolution sold. There's not been any. Right. And there's constantly people offering $1,000 for Duelist Revolution. So eventually, what you're gonna start seeing is Extreme Victory is gonna start drying up as more people open it, right? As people. So if you have $150, go pick up a 5D's booster box. That's what I did with GX. Around 2 years ago, people think like I'm paying like $1,000 for Elemental Energy every time. I'm not doing that. I bought most of my stuff back when they were like $200. I remember the seller was called Wow Loot Sellers.
Wow Loot, okay.
He had Cybernetic Revolution up the ass, like no joke. He had them like constantly being listed, right? Every single time I would go and my budget was around $200 to $250 every month. I'd buy a Cybernetic Revolution booster box. I would set it back, right? And I just did that every month. And then in a year, I had basically around the case. I had it around the case, and I actually had a little bit more because I sold some stuff. So I had a case and a half.
Right.
And I that's what I had. But it's like at the time, people were telling me like, you're crazy. Why are you paying this guy's prices? Because at the time, Cybernetic Revolution was around $179. It'd pop up for auction around that time. And people, for some reason, have this mindset where, okay, it sold for this. I am not paying anything other than 10% under this.
Right.
You know what I mean? People have that mindset for some reason. And it's just like, okay, then that means you're just going to follow along what everybody else is doing. Either you're going to set the market, you're going to emphasize the market, control the market, or set a standard for the market, or you're just going to follow what everybody else is doing. Because the person who bought the box, for example, at Cybernetic Revolution for $200, that guy set the market, right? Now everybody's trying to follow him, right? Now this doesn't mean you go, if the box is available for $200, you go pay like $700, right? But don't penny pinch. Like I'm telling this because I made this mistake, right? Like I missed out on a ton of deals because I wanted to get it like 10% under what the guy was asking for. Right? He'd be asking for like 225. I'd try to go back and forth with him over $10. You don't need to do that. At the end of the day, if you're planning to hold, if you're planning to truly invest and not flip it
long term, right?
It's gonna hit. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna go up. These boxes only go down in like population. So that's my biggest advice.
That box specific is though killing it though. Cybernetic Revolution, that was a great investment you picked up on though. If you got those for 180, then
I picked all of them for around 180 to around 250. Yeah, honestly, I picked up like around 16 boxes for that price. And people were telling me, like I remember specifically, Tony was telling me, dude, why you paying like so much for this box? Like nobody cares. Like there's so many on the market, because it eventually dries up. You know what I mean?
That's a big power seller. The Wild Loot Sellers, you were saying?
Yeah,
And
that guy's
he's got
that
a
guy
lot.
has the hindsight of like a hawk. I don't know how he just sat on that stuff for so long.
Another big power seller that comes to mind since we're on to that is Card Rush.
Yes.
If you remember, it was I want to say it was about a year and a half ago. He was selling. It was like 500 or 600 boxes of Pharaoh's Servant First Ed,
Yes.
and they all went for like $500 or $600.
They were $300.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. $300.
$300. Yeah.
And he had like 500 or 600 of those.
Yeah.
And I mean, so I contemplated buying about 50 of them, and I couldn't find 50 of those boxes at the time, and I couldn't make it happen. It's a little bit different when you're married. You're wanting to buy some stuff,
for sure.
but
Sure.
I knew that was going to be a good investment. It was good.
Mhm.
I could see me doubling my money in a couple of years. And man, next time you got to go with your gut. If you think that it's a good price and it doesn't affect anything in your personal life, I would say go for it.
Yes. I agree with that, man. You know who I was talking to? Card Collector AU, or Jimmy's Card House.
Jimmy?
I believe you got the poster from him, the LOB poster from him.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to him at the time when they were when they were unloading these. Every single time they posted a booster box, I put in 350 bid and I just let it sleep. I won like maybe around like 6 or 7 of them, of those booster boxes, and I knew 100% this is like top 4 sets in Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I mean? I knew like there's no way that this is gonna flop. You know what I mean? It's and you had that right. I'm telling you, like, if you have that gut feeling, just buy it. Worry about it later. As long as you're not hurting. As long as you know what I mean. Like it's expendable income, right? This is another key. You don't want to, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to put your mortgage payment into these cards. You don't want to put your rent into these cards. Whatever extra money you have, buy it. Worry about it later. Because if you're gonna have them sit in the bank or you're gonna blow it on like food or something. You know what I mean? What there's really no you're not gaining anything in the long term.
Right.
So any expendable income to me, like I buy a booster pack, I buy whatever it is. Like I sell something for like I make like maybe $80 profit or something. I just go buy like a booster pack lot and I just set it back in my collection. You know what I mean? And that's usually what I do. So I know a lot of people that collect cards. They buy a lot of cards, they grade them, and whatever card gets a 10, they end up setting it back in their collection, and then the 9s they end up selling, and the 8s they end up selling. And
it's a smart thing to do. It's long-term hold, especially if you're not scared of long-term holding. It makes more sense to collect the best, and obviously the PSA 10s and 9.5 gems are the way to go. That's the most sought-after cards. I can't tell you how many times I've listed 8s and 9s, even LOB First Ed commons and rares, and no one's interested. Yes. But as soon as I list my PSA 10s, I get a flood of DMs and on Instagram.
Yeah, that's the market being too small right now. 9s, I promise you guys, 9s for the original 11 sets, especially the ultra rares, they will all be $100 a piece. Easy. Like in the next 3 or 4 years, easy $100 a piece, because they are so damn hard to pull.
Right.
They're very, very hard to pull. Even dude, some people think that it's guaranteed 2 ultras in the box. I opened an LOB wavy box, 6 super rares. I swear to God, I'm not even joking. I even have a witness who was live with me, like talking with me on the phone. 6 super rares. And they're not even well centered. So like that one, that's when I realized, okay, I'm never ripping a booster box open ever again. That's why I went strictly sealed, not strictly open.
That's smart, man. I think as many as I've opened myself, I I don't see me really opening the first 11 sets anymore.
They've gone out of reach.
It would really have to be a huge subscriber special for that to happen, and even then, I just can't see myself doing it anymore. I think my Labyrinth of Nightmares is probably one of the last first 11 sets I'm going to open, or at least right now. That's at least my mindset, because the prices they're the value versus investment on on my return is just, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That's why you got to grow your following. Once you start growing the following, right, then like the way I see it, at least, like you start getting paid, like Leonhardt, for example, $300-400 a video or something. Maybe he makes like $2,000 a video, whatever. Like, I mean, that pays for the box, right? So in that way, you're kind of still improving the community, while at the same time, because I mean, if you think about it, Yugioh doesn't have that kind of Leonhardt figure. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's Simply Unlucky, but Simply Unlucky doesn't do vintage, right? Leonhardt, he boosts the community a lot, man. Like, I don't know if you noticed, every time he posts a video, dude, like stuff starts selling on eBay.
It does.
You know what I mean?
I remember I sent him some stuff. If you ever saw the one where
the small set, right?
box,
Yeah.
I sent that, and I had probably 30 or 40 people hit me up. Hey, where'd you get that mini Pokemon box? Yeah. And now there's a guy on Instagram, something tacos. Forgot his name, but he's on Instagram, and he's selling those custom boxes, which is really cool. But
yeah.
But you're right, though. It's being an influencer. Like, I'm sure his biggest portion of income is not necessarily the subscriber base. It's probably like selling his merchandise, his merch.
Yes.
When you get to that big of subscribers, I mean, how cool would it be to have a Prodigy shirt going? Like,
yeah, for sure, man. I mean, for sure, and it helps you fund the channel. Like, people think that I don't understand this also mentality. Like, a lot of people, they're like, oh, like, you're trying to gouge your viewers, and they don't really understand the time and effort that goes into these like things. Like, I always, if somebody, for example, I support them, right?
Right.
If they make a Patreon, or I always buy a shirt, or pitch at least like $5 to their Patreon for a few months. It's the least I could do, because I know how much time and effort goes into these videos. Like, YouTube doesn't pay that well. People think like YouTube money is like some crazy you're making like $10,000. You know what I mean? It's not like that, man.
You need millions of views really for it to make money, but you have to have passion in it. And the big thing too is, like, I mean, I only do a video once a week. I wish I had the time to do it once a day, like Ruxin and casual Yugi stuff. I don't know how they find the time.
I don't know how they do this, man. Ruxin is an animal, man. That guy's a workhorse, man. Like, he edits, he posts, like, you know how he posts the prices at the top? Yeah. You know how much work that needs?
It's a lot of editing. He spends a lot of time on it. I tip my hat to him. And,
exactly, man.
Maybe in the future I can have more time to be able to do a video once a day. Unfortunately, it's once a week right now, but eventually to get down.
I mean, you're doing something, man. It's better than me, for example. I'm not doing shit. I'm not. You know, I mean, I'm trying really hard to get behind the camera. You know what I mean? But at least you're doing something, and the Yu-Gi-Oh community really appreciates that, man. Like, even like one video a week is still better than no videos, man. Honestly. Like,
I do appreciate. I only have a little bit of a following, but the little following I do have, I don't ever miss a comment. Someone comments something, I'm reaching back out to them, tell them I appreciate their support. I think doing interviews like this, I'm really excited about. Because it's meaningful for the community. I think a lot of people are interested in it. They want to know how the market trends are, what we're thinking, what we're buying, what's trending. And I think it's a strong thing for the community, man. I'm pretty excited about it.
For sure.
If anything, I want to get into a quick last thing, because we've almost been going an hour here, but it's been fun. I hope you've had a blast.
I'm having a ton of fun. So once you get bored of me, then just tell me, all right, we're done.
No, you good, Omar. If anything, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 10 questions here, and it's gonna be more of like a quick, off the top answer from you. and it's
Sure.
going to be this, one or the other. It's as simple as that.
Sure.
It'll make more sense when I just start it. So, which do you prefer, Yugi or Kaiba?
Kaiba.
Bakura or Pegasus?
Bakura.
Glossy or wavy?
Wavy.
Blue eyes or red eyes?
Blue eyes.
Dark magician or dark magician girl?
Dark magician girl.
Oh yeah. Prize cards, Cyberstein or Crush Card Virus?
I like Crush Card Virus.
Crush
Kaiba
card.
card. Yeah.
Blister packs or booster packs?
Booster packs. I don't like blisters at all.
Bad ratios. Tell me about it. I don't do good on the channel with those. Buying or selling?
Both. But I like buying more. I love my mail days, man. I love buying like and just getting it in the mail. That's like the best part of my day.
I feel you on that. ILC or MFC?
MFC 100%.
PSA or BGS?
I like having PSA, but I like grading with BGS.
That is a genius comment. You guys pay attention to that comment right there. That is so true. I've had such bad luck with grading with PSA, but I do want the PSA 10s. You're totally right there. But grading, I would say hands down, be going with BGS. It's just
BGS has the best customer service I've ever used. Their grades are always so accurate. I love grading with BGS. I truly send in mint cards and I get mint grades back in return. They're really, really good. I would not be surprised if the market decides to choose them in the long term, in the long run. Yeah.
Last question, eBay or Macari?
eBay. I'm not a fan of the fees, but I really like the exposure. I mean, there's stuff that I just sell on eBay so easily compared to I don't use Macari. I'm in Canada, but compared to the other outlets, there's nothing like eBay, man. Like I got a warning from eBay once for trying to sell outside. Never did that again because if eBay cuts me off, I'm screwed.
I feel you on that. I think we all are. eBay's just it's the go-to. It's the go-to thing. So
it's a different beast, man.
Oh man. Well, guys, this is Strictly Graded, aka Strictly Sealed, SS. I guess I call it.
Yeah, Strictly Sealed from now on. You can just call me that. Strictly Sealed.
Strictly Sealed. Omar, it's been nice, man. I've had fun talking with you. This has been a fun first interview. Hopefully many more to come. But this is a start of the new series where we're talking to the top collectors in the world in Yu-Gi-Oh! And picking their brains and seeing what's going on with the market trends, their collections. And I hope everyone learned a little bit today. I know I have. Take this knowledge and use it to better your collections, to help each other out in the community. And Strictly, I'm very thankful to have you on the show, man. Check out this guy's Instagram, guys, if you haven't yet. Amazing, always posting fire daily. I mean, you don't see these rare things posted often, let alone consistent, very consistent. So I do want to thank you for being on my channel, man, and it's been very fun talking to you today.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm truly humbled. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm top collector in the world, but I really appreciate that. But there's a lot of beasts out there, man. There's a lot of animals that just go way harder than me. But I'm really humbled. Thank you for having me. And if you guys have any questions about the market or anything like that, always feel free to DM me on Strictly Sealed on Instagram. Thank you again for having me. Thank you again for putting out great content and supporting the Yu-Gi-Oh community. The community truly appreciates you, man. And thank you to Ruxin and any Yugi tuber out there that puts out content, whether new, old, whatever. every little bit helps. And hopefully one day, I mean, not one day, I'm going to try in the next month. In the next month, I promise, I'll try to get something out there on YouTube, and hopefully I can share some more knowledge with you guys about what I've learned in this hobby. So I'll try my best. No promises, but I'll try my best.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing that, Strictly. Guys, until the next video, Yugiohprodigy. Appreciate you guys.
And the next one, oh, Dark Necrofear.
Necrofear.
That is a huge pull, guys.
Oh my goodness.
We're hoping to get red eyes,
I
blue
know.
eyes, of course.
No, blue eyes.
Oh, baby! Oh! Different dimension fusion. Oh, baby. First edition. That's what we're talking about. Insect imitation. Oh!